Today, I was hoping we could talk about practice. And this is not a drum lesson per se, but it's a discussion I've had with many students in lessons. And it's usually with students that either feel like they just never have any time to practice or they're not practicing as much as they would like to. And I'm sure all of us can relate to this on some level. And I've had a couple of thoughts that I think are helpful sometimes for students and are definitely helpful for me to remind myself. So if this at all seems like you, then stick around and let me explain. So here's the first idea. And if I was a pretentious clinician, I would call this something official sounding like the teeth brushing principle, but I'm not. So it's really just what I think is a useful comparison between something like brushing our teeth and then practicing. So if we think for a second about brushing our teeth, this is a habit that hopefully for all of us is so ingrained that we almost treat it like eating or drinking, where it's something that we have to do every day for brushing teeth, twice a day at least, hopefully for all of you, or we die. Like that's how we treat eating and drinking. And we also kind of treat brushing our teeth in the same way. But that really isn't the case. The reality is that you could still practice proper dental hygiene and your teeth would be fine if you skipped brushing your teeth every once in a while. Now, we don't actually operate like that. And if you kind of think introspectively for a second and think about how you relate to that habit of brushing your teeth, you probably have it in your mind that no matter what happens on any given day, no matter what day of the week it is, no matter how busy you are, you always brush your teeth twice a day, once in the morning, once at night, right? The reason we do this, I think, is because it would otherwise be very difficult to form this habit properly. And so it's just a useful heuristic to kind of operate as if brushing your teeth is as important as eating or drinking. And we could apply the same methodology or the same mindset to practicing, where we just operate under the assumption that we absolutely, no matter what else happens in the day, we have to practice once or twice a day, even if it's just for a couple minutes. So you might not be able to get on a drum set every single day. You might have other stuff going on in your life. And sometimes I'll have students that'll say, yeah, I really wanted to practice this week, but I just had this going on. I had that going on. And I'll say, okay, that's fine. But did you brush your teeth on those days? I'll go, yeah, of course. Act like it's a silly question because it is kind of a silly question. But again, we could form a habit with the drum set that is similar. Even if you can't get on your full acoustic drum set every single day, you could potentially get on a practice pad for 2 minutes at a time, once in the morning and once in the evening. In fact, you could even tie it to brushing your teeth. You could say, okay, before I brush my teeth in the morning and in the evening, I get on the practice pad and I work on singles, doubles, and paradiddles for 2 minutes. Maybe you've got an electronic set at home and you can play it all hours of the day. And you sit down and you work on a coordination exercise or you play along to one song if you have other stuff going on that day that you think would otherwise preclude you from playing drums. Now, I'm not thinking of this as like a hack, and I'm not pretending that me suddenly saying this will totally change your life, but it is something that I think is useful for me, at least, to remind myself and just remember that there are other technically non-essential things in my life that I do every single day, and I can treat drums similarly. The second idea is a little more abstract and also fairly obvious, but it's just a reminder to all of us that you will never regret practicing. Or at least I have yet to have a student come in and be like, yeah, I practiced for an hour a day, every day, and TikTok was popping off and there's so much going on Instagram that I just missed because of that. Like, no, obviously that never happens. And it's actually somewhat rare, I guess, to find something in our lives that we really almost never regret doing, even things that we do all the time and usually enjoy, like going out to eat. Like you could have a bad experience. There is some risk that you might go out and, have a bad meal or get food poisoning or something like that. If you go out and drink, like there's definitely a probability there that you will regret doing that. But something like exercising or something like drumming, we will basically never regret getting on the kit and improving at least a little bit that day. So again, this maybe sort of seems obvious, but if you find yourself in that crossroads where you're planning out your day or you're thinking of what to do, or if you're trying to decide whether you should practice or not, like you won't regret it. What are the chances that you make the time to get on the kit and then when you're done, you're like, man, that was just not a good idea. I shouldn't have done that. I should have done something less productive. So anyways, just a couple of basic ideas there for you, a couple of mental shortcuts that you can hopefully use when you are trying to stay motivated to practice. And I would love to hear any ideas that you might have or anything that's been helpful to you and your headspace when it comes to practice. So let me know in the comments below. It'd definitely be helpful for me, and I'm sure it'd be helpful for anyone else that's watching this video. So thanks for watching. See you next time.